guys, it's Bridget. Welcome back to my channel. Today I really wanted to talk about something that I feel like everyone who reads really experiences, is a reading slump. I know that in July, I've mentioned it before on this channel, that it was not a great reading month for me. I just wasn't picking up books that really spoke to me. So it got me thinking, what are some books that I've read that I think will guarantee to bring pretty much anyone out of a reading slump? Really, my only criteria was it a book that I could not stop reading and wanted to recommend to everyone after I finished reading it? The first book that I want to talk about today is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and this book is insane. It will seriously mess with your mind when you read it. I just read it this year and I really wish I had read it sooner because it was just so good. I could not put it down. Dark Matter is a science fiction novel that follows our protagonist Jason after one night he is abducted and he's knocked out, and when he wakes up he's in a lab surrounded by people who seem to know him, but he does not know any of them. He's obviously very freaked out and he's trying to figure out, what is going on, where is he, where are his wife and son, who are all these people, what's happened to his life. But as he digs deeper and deeper into this situation, the more questions come up and he begins to wonder if all of his memories that he have of his life are even real, if that was even reality, and if he will ever see his wife and son again. This book is speculative, it's emotional, it's horrifying at times, and it is so creative. Every time you think you know what's going on, just think again, because it gets crazier and crazier as you get through the book, and you cannot even guess what's going to be coming next. The next book on this list that I think will really pull you out of a reading slump is The Heart's Invisible Furies by Boyne. This book is an absolutely wonderful historical fiction, very character-driven novel that follows the life of our protagonist, Cyril Avery, from conception to old age, like the end of his life. Cyril is born in the 1940s Ireland to an unwed mother who consequently ends up getting banished from her really small, highly conservative town. He's put up for adoption and he's taken in by the Avery family, who, while they treat him really well, they are not very affectionate and they are constantly reminding him that he is not and will never be a real Avery. As Cyril grows up, he comes to realize that he is gay and he really struggles with this huge secret, living in Ireland at the time where homosexuality is illegal and the country is extremely religiously conservative. This story just really offers a heartbreaking look at what it was like to be a gay child, teenager, adult in a highly oppressive 20th century Ireland. The core of this book is really Cyril's struggle to find connection and find love in a society and a time where revealing his true self and revealing this very deep personal part of him would lead to persecution and even imprisonment. The book is heartbreaking, it's enraging, but it is also very funny at times, and the characters are all so compelling. They're all very human. It is really difficult to fully encompass what makes this book so special, just because it is very narrow in that it's only following one man's experience, but it just offers this epic saga of his life and who he is as a person, and you just cannot help but be drawn into this character. Trust me when I say it is unputdownable. You should add it to your TBR like right now and read it as soon as you can and tell me what you think of it, because it is such a fantastic book. The next book that I want to talk about on this list is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. I think that everyone knows Trevor Noah as the host of The Daily Show, but I did not know what a crazy life he had prior to becoming this sort of public figure. In this memoir, Noah talks about growing up mixed race in South Africa during the apartheid, at a time when interracial relationships or marriages were completely illegal. Because of this, his life is just full of these crazy experiences and situations, and thankfully he has put all of this down in a book for us to enjoy. For example, he recounts not being able to be seen out in public with either his black mother or his white father, because just based on the color of his skin, authorities would be able to see that he's mixed race and they could arrest them and take him away. So he ends up spending most of his childhood indoors, being hidden away from the government. In a series of short essays, he shares these stories and anecdotes from his life, touching on so many topics from racism to poverty and colonialism to domestic violence. He really just talks about everything. He somehow manages to talk about some truly horrible experiences in a way that is just filled with humor and wit, and it just keeps you coming back for more. I just could not get enough of his stories. I felt like he was just telling them to me personally. And this sort of system makes the book so hilarious, but also really emotional at the same time. You will want to laugh one minute and then the next minute you'll be cringing at something that he's revealing to you. Trevor Noah is such a fantastic storyteller. He's so engaging and so witty. I kept thinking to myself, you know, one more story, I'm just gonna read one more, and then the next thing I knew, it was the end of the book and I had finished the whole thing. Okay, so the next book on my list is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This is a great book for people who enjoy fantasy and want to get into fantasy, but don't really want to commit to a really epic high fantasy world or the length of those high fantasy books. This book is much more accessible for all fantasy readers. I think anyone from the young adult group to regular adult readers will enjoy this book. I know that after I read them, I literally wanted to recommend them to everyone. I just loved them so much. In this universe, there are 4 Londons, and they are all in parallel worlds. We've got Grey London, which is our world. There's no magic here. There's Red London, which is full of magic. It's thriving, it's prosperous, and this is where our protagonist Kel is from. There's White London, which is much darker, and the magic here is dying, and people really use it to stay in power. And then there's Black London, which is essentially a dead world. It is cut off from the rest of the Londons because it was essentially consumed by its own magic, and there's nothing there anymore. Our main character, Kel, can travel between these worlds, and he sort of acts as an ambassador to the different leaders in these parallel Londons. He also has a bit of a side gig as a smuggler, bringing items between the worlds, which is strictly forbidden. And by doing this, he ends up bringing an item back into his world that is not supposed to be there and ends up causing a ton of trouble and ultimately threatens the very existence of the Londons. This is kind of where our adventure begins as they try to stop this catastrophic event from happening. V.E. Schwab just does such a fantastic job at writing these really complicated, interesting characters. They pull you right in, they really make you care about their mission, and we've got them all in this book. We've got powerful magicians, cross-dressing female pirates, evil rulers, promiscuous princes, pretty much everything, and all combined, they are so much fun to read about. This whole series is so great and so much fun. I think I read all 3 of them in like a week, and I just wanted more afterwards. I was so sad when it was over. So if you're just getting into fantasy, or if you do enjoy fantasy but haven't gotten to these yet, I really think that you will love them. The last book that I want to recommend to you all is Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. This one might seem like kind of an odd one to throw in here. I mean, it's a lighthearted, young adult, LGBT, contemporary romance novel, but guys, it is so cute. It seriously made me so happy when I was reading it. I mean, I don't even typically like books like this most of the time, but I could not put it down. It made me laugh. It made my heart hurt, and when I finished, I just kind of wanted to squeeze the book. I loved it so much. For anyone that doesn't know, this is actually the book that the movie Love, Simon is based off of. Simon is 16 and he's in this sort of email relationship with this guy named Blue, and this is a complete secret because neither of them are out yet at school until someone starts blackmailing Simon and threatens to leak the emails to the school. But really, at the end of the day, this is just a coming-of-age story, and it's one that I really wish I could have read when I was a teenager trying to figure myself out. The relationships between the characters feel so genuine, the humor of the book is spot on, and the messages that are kind of being told are just really heartwarming. I mean, don't expect any kind of like incredible prose or deep philosophical writing. This is purely a feel-good comfort story. If you haven't been feeling great about the books you've been picking up lately and they've left you kind of feeling meh, then I can almost guarantee that this one will make you smile. Okay, so there are 5 books that I read and I absolutely loved, and I'm confident that any one of them can pull you out of a reading slump, or if you're not in a reading slump, just add one more great book to your list. Let me know if any of you have read any of these and tell me what you thought in the comments. I'm so interested if you guys love them as much as I did. As usual, if you enjoyed this content, please remember to like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Otherwise, I will see you all in the next video.